Alright everyone, it's 2024, so you know what that means. That's right, Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. Look, I know Switch 2 rumors are nothing new, they've been around for years now, but I figure this has got to be the year for it, right? I mean, this is 2024, the Switch is coming up on 7 years old, which is well past the normal cycle of 5 to 6 years for Nintendo systems. And there's a little bit of evidence that something could be on the way. I mean, there's a lot of Switch games that are no longer being printed. I mean, maybe this is just physical media dying out, but I'm choosing to be optimistic. I believe in the Switch too, so let's get into it. So there's been some leaks from the Taiwanese Economic Forum that lists some of the specifications for the Switch 2, things like a 120Hz display, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of internal storage, and a better battery life. There's not really any specifics on the battery life, but it's not too much of a stretch to assume that between a combination of a higher capacity battery along with a just more energy efficient processor that they're going to get a better battery life. So I mean, not a big stretch there. I have to say the only thing throwing me off here is the 120 hertz display. I'm not complaining, but at the same time, it's like I'm not sure what they plan on running at 120 FPS. Like, that's a pretty rare thing, even on hardware way more powerful than this. It just seems like an odd thing to splurge on when a 60 or 90 hertz display probably would have got the job done for a cheaper price. The other stuff is kind of disappointing, but very Nintendo. They never really put any emphasis on internal storage. They just assume that if you're the type of person that's going to be downloading a lot of games, you're going to go out your way and pick up a 1 terabyte micro SD card, or maybe even the new shiny 1.5 terabyte micro SD card. It's one of the main corners they cut. A little disappointing, not very surprising, but also not really a big deal in my opinion. That 8 gigabytes of RAM though, kind of a letdown from the third party perspective. I'm sure Nintendo's going to pull off some insane levels of Nintendo magic with it. But when you think about other consoles like the PlayStation 5, you think about your gaming PC handhelds like the Steam Deck, they have 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it seems like a lot of your higher end third party games are built with that in mind. Now, Nintendo being behind the RAM curve is nothing new. The Wii U came out with 2 gigabytes of RAM when 4 would have been normal at the time, and then the Switch came out with 4 when 8 would have been pretty normal. But again, Nintendo magic. I mean, the Wii U ran Xenoblade Chronicles X. Just saying. Speaking of Xenoblade Chronicles X, that's a game that's rumored to be getting a remake for the Switch 2. And if there's any justice in the world, that rumor is 100% true. And there's another rumor that we're also going to be getting Bayonetta Trilogy for the Switch 2. That would obviously consist of Bayonetta 1, 2, and 3 as a single package. That'd be great. I wouldn't complain. As for the last rumor, I don't know if it's really a rumor, but there's just a lot of emphasis on the Switch 2 being an iterative improvement over the Switch 1 as opposed to just being some like revolutionary new system. A lot of people have been saying expect like a DS to 3DS situation where conceptually these are very similar things, but the 3DS obviously had a lot more power behind it, had a lot more features going for it, and things like it obviously had the 3D, it had the eShop capabilities and some other stuff. And honestly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, the Switch being Nintendo's handheld hybrid console is just easy money. It's like, I don't know why they would try to go back to the days where the console and handhelds were two different things and their dev teams were doing stuff for two different systems instead of one. The Switch has just been absolutely phenomenal. That's Nintendo's lane now, and I don't see them throwing that away. Now I am very curious as to what features they'll be adding into the Switch 2. I know a lot of people's Switch 2 wish list is something like really simplistic, like, oh, I just want to have more powerful hardware and backwards compatibility. That's small brain stuff. No. I'm talking crazy. I'm talking like how the 3DS had 3D with no glasses. That's what I'm talking about. I know some of the Switch 2 mock-ups have shown the Switch 2 having a foldable screen. And while this is cool, I just don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't put it past Nintendo to do such a thing. And at the very least, it would make putting DS and 3DS games onto the NSO pretty easy and kind of a no-brainer. But I think I think the next step, the next logical step for the Switch 2 is VR. Let me explain. When you think about the Switch, I mean, this is like half a step away from being a VR machine, right? You're just missing like the actual proper headset. If I guess maybe the screen had to be a bit bigger, but you would just dock it into like an actual headset, and it already comes with the Joy-Cons. Joy-Cons have gyro controls in them already. It has all the buttons you would use to play a game. It is just it's just right there. The concept really is just right there. Obviously, the Switch 2 would need a better screen. Maybe that's what the 120 hertz display is for, honestly. That and just more robust and ergonomic Joy-Cons. And they just easily have that out of the box. And then they have the ability to bring it to the masses in a way that nobody else really can. For $400, if that is the price, that's the rumored price, you can't beat that. Because as far as VR is concerned, it's like those VR devices are about like $250, $300, but that's on top of buying something like a PlayStation 5 or a decent desktop PC. So it's really, it would just make so much sense for Nintendo to do VR and make it mainstream, because then the Switch 2, it's your handheld, it's your console, it's your VR machine. It just makes a lot of sense in my opinion. Now, the concept wouldn't be particularly new. Nintendo wouldn't be the first to do it. There is a device called the Pimax Portal, which dabbles in this idea. But again, I think Nintendo is the one that would be able to bring it to the masses and make it mainstream. Outside of that, I think it'd be fun for them to try AR again. This is something that some of your older handhelds could do, like your 3DS, Vita, and I think the PSP had a camera attachment where you could do it. And for the 3DS, like, you had to have the AR cards, and then there were fun little games, like there was Face Raiders. I'm going to be honest, I'm not exactly sure how they'd go about doing AR in the modern era, but it is something that I think they should try again. It seems like a very underexplored aspect of gaming. But yeah, that's where we're currently at with Switch 2 rumors. I think they're going to be ramping up like crazy this year. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, are you guys ready for Switch 2? Are you guys kind of disappointed with some of the rumors going around? Would you play Mario Kart 9 in VR? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one.